Negan, the non-character, a video essay. Even from the beginning, the saviors were badly written. Now don't get me wrong on this point. In the very start, like the first few episodes, they came into focus instead of just being hinted at. They were very good, intimidating villains. But that actually lies in the root of the issue. You see, they always knew where Rick's group was, as if they had eyes everywhere and were too large of a group and too strong to even attempt to avoid. Negan was extremely brutal and horrific, literally torturing a man to death in front of his wife who was having a miscarriage and then torturing a different man to death. Then he attempts to make Rick cut off his son's arm. All throughout this, there was not a shred of regret, and he did absolutely none of it out of necessity or under threat. He was doing horrific things of this nature long before Rick's group came along. But when the episodes began revealing the inside life of the saviors, they actually weren't all that OP, like, at all. There would probably be far too much to go into as this whole thing spread out over various seasons, but basically they were all just a bunch of guys. One of the main points of Negan's redemption arc, a line repeated time and time again, was that Negan is actually a morally good character who does not kill kids. This isn't even true in the slightest. For starters, the very first thing that Hilltop said about Negan was that he had bashed his 16-year-old's head in, so we know for a fact that he's killed at least one child. Judging by all of the men and boys being killed in Oceanside, we know that he has done it or endorsed it more than once. Granted, Simon could have just not told Negan about this and could have been acting alone, but even if he didn't, the basis of Negan's redemption arc is still, without a doubt, based on a lie. When Negan drove to bomb Alexandria, knowing that baby Judith and many other children were there, he had a huge smile on his face. If you try and say, okay, well, maybe he just forgot, he did not. Carl, who is 17 at this point in the show, tells Negan that he shouldn't do this, that his baby sister and many other children are inside. What does Negan do? He bombs Alexandria anyway. He also tried to kill Carl a few episodes before this, and the only reason he was stopped was because of a fucking tiger jumping into the fight. Now, also, you could say, well, Carl wasn't exactly a kid. He was 16 or 17 at the time he almost killed him, but that is kind of irrelevant because objectively he was a kid. And also, one of the very first times that the "I don't kill kids" line was said was when this one character, about 10 years after the war, asks Negan if he killed Carl. Negan says, very dramatically and defensively, "I don't kill kids," which, Another huge point of Negan's redemption arc was that he is very against rape and sexual assault, but that is, again, fundamentally against his character, especially when he was a villain. I mean, the basis of one of the worst things that he did in the series was that he had 10 wives that he forced to be his wives. And some people say, okay, well, he didn't force them to be his wives, but he did. He threatened them into it. Many of them were threatened into it by him saying he's going to kill someone very important to them if they don't become his wife. And one of the weirdest things is that the director of the show said, trying to clear this up, well, he didn't actually have sex with his wives. But this isn't true. It is fundamentally not true. At multiple points in the series, this is disproven. For example, Sherry takes a pregnancy test, worried that it is Negan's child. This alone disproves what the director said. When he shows Carl around the sanctuary, he also says, "Aw, damn, you're here, so I'm not going to be able to screw any of my wives tonight." So the reason that Negan is basically a non-character is that every single point of his character arc is against his character arc. Every single point and fundamental plot that they have made to redeem him is directly against things that he has done in the past. And he's not sorry for what he did either. Later on in the series, he literally tells Maggie he knows what it's like to be on the losing side of a massacre and says that both of the groups were equal in the things that they did wrong, which, And the weirdest part about the wives thing, going back to that point, is that he's literally called out on it on the show. Gabriel, when he's locked in the room with him, literally tells him and calls him out on the wives thing. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I apologize that there's probably a lot more I could have said and explained in this video. There was, like I said, a lot that the seasons stretched out on with Negan's entire character arc, and there's probably too many scenes to go into, but these are the biggest contradictions and the reasons why I believe that Negan is a horribly written character and his redemption arc isn't a redemption arc at all. It's just a complete switching of everything the character stood for so that people will like him.